Okay guys, it's cold here in the shop this morning, so while I'm letting it warm up here, we'll get back on the old 5-horse Waterloo Boy. In this episode, part 4, we're going to do the cylinder head, get it put back together. I got some valves over here that I've made, and we're going to grind the seats and get the head fixed up on it anyway. And one more step to hopefully having this thing make smoke. So if you like what you see, please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and hit the like button, all that stuff that YouTube likes for you to do to help my channel out a little bit. So we'll keep going here, and thanks for watching. All right, guys, I got working on the head here, got the valves out of it. As you can see, that's pretty sharp. I'm going to end up having to make some new valves for it. These would probably run, but they're running out close to the edge. There's no margin. And so I'm getting ready to grind the seats here. And I'm using my Hall valve grinder. It's an orbital valve grinder. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, but it takes the stone and instead of plunging it into the seat, you let it down with this thumb screw here, and it orbits its way around and grinds the seat. I'll show you that here in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and get the seats done. They'd probably run, but they had some pits. And, why not do them, So I'm gonna do them and grind them and clean them up good. Then we'll make some new valves and grind them and lap them in, and it should work fine then. Let me get you a view of this grinder working. Get you close here. Let me set the grinder down on here. And it's doing a respectable job. So we'll do the next one here. Get the camera positioned correctly. I've got a pilot here that centers my pilot for the machine, and switch it over here. Get my little pilot in. That squares up the pilot. This is pilot here. And let's go ahead and set it up here. As I run this thumb screw down, you'll see it get closer. It's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more. Looks pretty decent. I like it. Well, I took a 60-degree stone. This is a 45. Took a 60 and set the seat down just a little deeper. Took a little bit off of the outside surface there. And we'll see how that works. We'll see how it looks when we set a valve in there now. If you're wondering how this thing works, this is the depth. It sets down on the pilot here. The pilot goes in here and sets on a depth set by this screw right here. And then as it grinds, let me show you what is going on in there with the pilot. And that makes the wheel just, orbit its way around the seat. It's a slick invention. These things were made back in the 40s, probably. I happened to pick it up in the flea market and, have had good luck with it. It's got a few stones with it. And, for this old one-off work like this, it does a good job. Here's what the stones look like. They just screw on here. I can unscrew this one-handed maybe. There we go. That's all there is to it. Don't know how hard these would be to find. Probably eBay, I could probably find them, but this stuff, as old as it is, probably hard to get. And then on the inside, where the pilot goes in, I didn't have all the pilot on this one. There's a little wedge there that pulls up and pulls it tight, but I just machined this piece to fit a close fit in the guide. And, this fits the pilot, so there wasn't any wiggling around. So we'll see. Time will tell. When I get the valves made, we'll go to lap them in. We'll see how good we did here. Okay, back over here at the other bench. Talking about these valves, you can see, if you get the light just right on there, you can see where that seat was running. And it has worn into the face of the valve. Oh, it looks like, probably 6/7 thousandths, 5 or 6, maybe 7. It's just deep. Now that I changed the area of the seat over there on the heads, of course these will have to be ground, and when you grind these, you take off diameter. This one here is very rough. You take off diameter, and then that lets them fall down into the seats even farther and brings the contact area out here closer to the edge, which is what you don't want. So anyway, these are a little under 1 5/8. So I've got some 1 5/8, just a little proud of 1 5/8 cast iron stock. I'm going to make the heads out of, the valve heads. And as you can see, let's see which one shows it best. This one does. These valve heads are drilled, and there you can see the stem, and they're just peened. The stem is peened in the head. I've got some drill rod here that I'm going to use for the stems. It's 3/8, and it fits great in those guides over there in the head. So it's just easy enough to make them. I can buy these. There are sources that sell parts for these old engines that will sell you valves, but they're about 75 bucks a piece from what I can see, and I can make them, so that's no big deal. My philosophy is, why spend $75 for a new valve when you can make one for $100? So that's my theory on that. But anyway, here's the springs. I'm going to search around, see if I can find some hardware store springs that I can modify. The intake valve was threaded. This valve's threaded on. And I don't know if I'm going to go back with that or not, or go with a more conventional pin type retainer. I mean, that's cool. That works. This is about 100 thousandths thick wire, and this is about 90, and there's quite a bit of difference in the strength of them. So I'm going to try to go with about the same strength springs and replace the springs too, and I've got a smaller piece of cast here that I may just make these retaining parts for it too. So we'll just make these to fit whatever springs I get, and we should be in good shape on the valves then. So we'll get started machining up some valve heads here. Okay, rather than show you all the cutting processes, I just finished with the first one here. At least this much of it, I gotta cut it off yet and separate it. But it's been drilled and reamed. And I took this form tool here and just kind of hollowed out the bottom of it here just to make it look similar to the original, sort of, maybe, kinda. So that's kind of where we're at there. I'm getting ready to cut it off, and then I'll be ready to mount it on the stem. And where the stem goes in, there'll be a step, and the step will be pressed up to this point and then peened. It'll be a slight press fit and then peened on the face side or the other side, the head. So next step is to get that cut off, and we'll make the next one. So just wanted to show you the progress so far. Okay, here's the old valves here. Let me get them up here where you can see them. And as you recall, they were pretty rough. So went ahead and in the last clip you saw that I made the heads, and went ahead and made 3 valves here. And this is a threaded valve like the intake was. Here's the original intake. It's threaded, and I haven't made this piece here yet that goes on that goes over the end of the spring, but I fully intend to make that when I decide what spring I'm going to use. So we got the valves made. I just went ahead and pressed the stem into the head, and then on this side I welded it and just ground it down. So they're all made this way, and they don't look real good, but hey, I think they'll work. And if I decide to not use the threaded intake valve, I'll use one of the other ones here. They all seem to work and seal up okay. I need to grind them yet. We'll grind them here in a little bit. But I want to show you about the springs. If you recall, the springs weren't in the best shape in the world. As you can see, the pits on that one there. And this one is almost as bad in some areas. But, you know, so I decided to change springs. Well, I figured, well, shoot, I can go to the hardware store and pick up some springs. And I looked and looked, several different places I have around here, nothing. So I ordered from McMaster Car. I took the diameters here, and I ordered some springs from McMaster. And here's what they sent me for the exhaust, and that, I believe that's gonna work. That matches up pretty well. It's not the small diameter up here, but I can deal with that by making a different top piece for it. So we're good there. The intake was another story. And when I ordered from McMaster, I had to order 6 at a time. So, I mean, I really increased my spring inventory around the shop here. So, anyway, this spring was just a little too stiff. So, I've got 6 of those I can't use. But they were cheap. They were pretty cheap for 6 of them. And let me show you what I come up with here. And here's Starbolt out of Maryland. I called him He said, yeah, I think I can send you a spring that'll fit that. And he was really good, worked with me, and took some, he didn't take the measurements, but he knew about what I was working on. So he sent me this spring, and it's too small. So long story short, I called him back, said, hey, I'll keep that spring for my inventory. Send me another spring. So he sent me this spring, which is fine. And these springs, incidentally, are $8 a piece, plus shipping. I think the shipping was $4. So, you know, that's a great buy. So, ended up with the springs. So we got valves, we got springs. Let's get these things ground and see if we can assemble a cylinder head. Yeah, those valves fit pretty good over there on the head. I'm gonna bring you back over here, the old Black & Decker here. This thing, another antiquated piece of equipment that I've got here. I'll get around here where you can see. I think I've showed this before in another video, but old flat belt leather drive, leather flat belts, and the old oil cups here. I drop a little oil in them. I bring it out of storage whenever I've got a little job like this. And it's kind of comical. This thing, I don't know, it's old as Methuselah, but let me show you here. It on this tag, it's pretty comical to me, really. It says a 5/8 inch electric valve refacer. I mean, like electric was a new thing, you know. It probably was back when this thing was built. But it's got some cool looking old tags on here. You probably can't see them very well with this camera, but you know, I think the tags on it are pretty neat nonetheless. It's got some wear. I mean, it's got this much free play, but hey, it works. I've got to rig up something to dress the wheel with, so that's going to be one of the next things I do. The wheel really needs to be dressed, but hey, you know, seems to be working, and as long as I can get them roughed in where I can grind them with valve lapping compound when I get them in the head, that's always worked for me. But I wanted to show you this old girl, and another antiquated piece of engine dock shop equipment here. Okay, I've got the old Black & Decker out here, and getting ready to grind these valves here. So we'll get set up here and see if we can put a better face on these valves. So let's get started on that. Just kind of sweep this grinding wheel back and forth across the face here. Looks like they're just not quite concentric with the stem, and that's what this is doing. So they made the stem and the valve head in two different operations. So we're just making the head concentric with the stem at this point. I think we're just about there. I'm going to pull away and take a look at it here. Yeah, we're getting closer. We'll keep going here. And we'll take a look here. Well, it looks pretty good. Let me rotate that around a little bit. I think that's a keeper. Well, here's the last one. So it cleaned up pretty good. This is the threaded one. I like that. So we'll take them over the head and see how they fit here. Oh, that's looking perfect right there. Right where it should be. I'm going to lap these in too. This one here, it's got a nice little track on it right in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see that on this little camera or not, but looking pretty good. Here's the last one I did. Let's throw him in there. It'll be an intake. Let's see how he fits there. Yeah, real good. I see it right out there about 1/3 down from the edge. So that should renew the valves in this thing pretty decent. So now I got to get the keepers, pinholes drilled through here. If I'm going to use this threaded one, a keeper made for it, and go from there. Now I'll get set up here and show you the springs. Let's see, this is the exhaust. Here's the intake spring. That's the free length. The intake, I may have to trim him down a little bit, but that was the understanding I had when I bought it. I knew it might be a little long, so we'll trim it down if we have to. The exhaust spring, I think, is going to be about right. I think it's going to be just about right, so we'll get on with making the caps for these now. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this episode up for now. I've got more to come. In the next episode, we're going to do a little more machine work on these caps and finish the valves and get the head assembled. And I'm going to show a little more machine work next time. Maybe you guys may like to see that. If not, you can fast forward through it, but probably got enough on this one for right now. So I'm going to wrap it up, and be sure to check out the next episode. And look for me, what is going to be episode 5, part 5. So appreciate you watching, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you like what I'm doing. Hit the thumbs up, and we'll be around next time. Look for us in upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching.